It's the post-match phone-in. I'm Ollie K. I'm here to discuss with my co-host Mark Ryman, Luton Town going to Home Park and getting thoroughly embarrassed. It was Plymouth 3, Luton Town 1. Now, Mark, how you doing, mate?
Oh, I feel like I need a little quiet time by myself. I've just had a massive Chinese takeaway just to try and help ease the pain. Did a bit, I'll be honest. I made some notes so that I didn't just come on here and swear all night. About the performance as well. But yeah, but apart from that, I'm all right, mate. You?
Yeah, well, for those who subscribe to the OK Football YouTube channel, you would have seen I got my thoughts and feelings off my chest pretty much last night. And fortunately, I haven't really thought about it too much today. So it's been an all right one, it has. But the performance, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the performance, look, for those who are watching, if you want to get in touch, you can. There's a Discord link in the description. All you need to do is click that link and it'll take you to our green room. And then from there, you can get in touch with us. It's so much simpler than Twitter. Well, Mark, let's get your thoughts then. So, yeah, 3-1,
Yeah,
Wayne Rooney masterclass.
yeah. Well, clearly, I mean, look, I started making some notes while I was watching the game to try and get some coherent thoughts together while it was happening because so much of what has happened we've seen before. So I'm not going to talk about formation. I think 99.9% of Luton fans know what's wrong with the 3-4-3, and want a three in midfield. Personally, I'd like to see a 4-3-3. I know that you would like to see a 3-5-2. To be honest, either is much better than what we've got.
Don't think we have the
I
defenders now for a 3-5-2.
no,
Bell's
no,
injured,
you're
Mengi went
right.
off
Yeah.
injured, Anderson came off injured.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, 4-3-3 it is then, or 4-4-2. But I think what I wanted to talk about is what is maybe a deeper problem, because I think that changing the formation is clearly going to help, but I don't think it's the only problem at our club. I think we need to think about something a little bit deeper. I know you mentioned Nathan Jones in your post match, and I'm going to make it clear from the start. I don't think that getting rid of Rob Edwards and putting Nathan Jones in charge is the answer. And I know that's not what you said either, just to make that clear too. But one thing I think is true, is that what we've lost in Rob Edwards' tenure is discipline. And I don't mean burning the fucking table tennis table. I mean discipline in terms of discipline on the ball, working on the basics, as you said already, drilling those things down, people knowing their roles. For me, one of the reasons why we played actually better football under Mick Harford in League One and under Rob Edwards in the Championship after Jones had sodded off to Stoke and then Southampton is because he was so much the other way that both Mick Harford and Rob Edwards allowed players like people like Clark to express themselves more and play attacking football. Portsmouth being a good example when we're in League One, and you can pick many games out of that Championship season where we were a little bit better and more free flowing going forward. The issue now for me is that there is no role at all. It's gone so far the other way that players have no clue where they're supposed to be, and nothing typifies this more than the player we were all overexcited about in Tom Krause in the previous game. I was looking for him for their second counter-attack goal, and he was by the corner flag. What on earth is going on when you've got those players? His whole role is defending, or being a defensive midfielder if we've not got a Camber in there. I don't blame him. I'm not going to start picking on players. We could go down forever about all the players that were brilliant in the Prem and now have lost form. It cannot be just a case of a lack of confidence, a loss of form, when you've got nearly your whole team who were excellent in the Premier League. For me, probably the third best squad in the league, underperforming. I think what worries me is that Rob Edwards has not got that installation of discipline in the team, and for whatever reason that is, that's a very difficult thing to kind of get right. So that's the only thing I wanted to add to what I'm sure other people are going to mention in terms of the game itself.
Yeah, well, there are questions that need to be asked. And
Yeah.
as I said in the post-match reaction, Rob Edwards needs to take a good, long, hard look at himself. But enough of us talking. Let's get our first caller on. We got over from Twitter. Thank you for joining us. It's Simon. Hashtag in Tom Lockyer we trust. And you should be unmuted. This is our debut, so hopefully it's worked out well.
I can hear you.
Way.
Hey, that helps.
It's a good start.
I was flicking between Discord and here. I was like, I hope I get this right.
Like, it's the first time. Well, you know, it will get better. We'll figure out.
Well, I
the
can
nooks
actually
and the
see
crannies.
who I'm talking to today.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, sorry about that, mate.
So what's on your mind,
let's talk
Si?
about this game.
Yeah, go on.
It was crap. Let's not beat around the bush, lads. It was crap. 2-man midfield ain't working. We need to get a third man in the middle of the park. It's glaring. We are so inflexible. I've said it. I said this to you a few weeks ago, didn't I? Teams know how we're going to turn up. They know exactly how we're going to play. They prepare for it days in advance. I also said on Twitter earlier on, I was like, teams used to fear giving us a single corner. Now they just let us have them all game long because they know nothing's going to happen.
How many corners was it? It was 25
A
or
lot.
30. Yeah, it's mad.
We have had a lot of corners this season. And have we converted any of them other than that Nelson Wonder goal?
No.
So,
I mean,
at the end of the
could
day,
probably argue McGuinness, but yeah, that's it.
I ran a poll. I did run a poll on Twitter about people's thoughts, as good as these things come without getting hijacked. A couple of thousand votes, pretty much split down the middle of those want Rob in, Rob out. I think it's too early. I think that he deserves a little bit more time to try and turn it around. He's got to be flexible, though. He's not flexible enough. He needs to be more flexible. His system ain't working. Time to swallow your pride, mate.
Yeah, I wonder. The thing for me is that in terms of I'm not gonna talk about what I think in terms of this, but I would say this: if you think the system isn't working, which is what everyone. I've not spoken to anyone who thinks the system is working. Then you fall under one of two categories: either Rob Edwards is going to change it, or he's too stubborn and he won't. If it's the latter, unless you think the system's going to magic
to stay, I think that he has to at this point swallow his pride and do something, because the calls are loud. I've never seen so many people criticizing Rob Edwards at one time. It's a lot of people. We know that he's able to use a system that benefits the players he has, because he did it when he got us to the Premier League. I've seen people going, oh, yeah, but Nathan Jones did all the hard work. No, Nathan Jones didn't. We were mid-table. Rob Edwards did a lot of work to get us into the playoff final and up. I don't know if Ollie agrees about that or not, but Nathan Jones' work was there, don't get me wrong. But Rob Edwards still did a phenomenal job getting that season over the line, because it was hardly March he took over. It was December.
Yeah, but you can't diminish what Nathan Jones did, even that season. It was fairly obvious from the Watford game on, where we were 6th in the table and we had a lot of injuries that day, but the timeline lines up with the fact that Nathan Jones had been tapped up before that. And then during the whole saga, like where it was like, will he, won't he move to Southampton? It was a case of the performances dropped off a cliff, because you could see he lost his edge, and therefore pushing the players, and the players lost their edge because Nathan Jones lost his edge. And look, what did Rob Edwards change, really? He did the same thing. He even said that he did the same thing. He said,
he played to the strengths of the club. Those were his exact words at the time. that he's going to play to the strengths already in the club, but he did envision his own brand of football. I remembered these conversations back then when he was saying it. And when we saw grassroots of what he wanted to do in the Premier League, but as I said as well, when you don't have players like Sambi Lokonga and Ross Barkley in the middle, you can't play two in the middle. We haven't got players that are capable of doing what they did at the end of the day.
So when do you think his brand of football took over?
When we beat Brighton, I think that he
Okay.
really hasn't changed from that since. He's thinking that he's going to do that again. I haven't seen it again. He needs to adapt to what Luton Town are good at, and that's being difficult to score against, being effective at set pieces, and giving teams a game. Because I really, really don't like watching Luton be passed through the middle, straight through, easy goals against us. I really don't like it. It makes me very unsettled watching it.
It's just a bit too easy, though. That's the thing. And when you actually break it down, Si, we've played, 7 games now? 6 of them against teams who currently occupy the bottom half of the league. Only the game
Not
against
good enough.
Burnley. No, it's not good enough. And, does he change it? Do you think he thinks that something is wrong? Is he going to point a finger at himself and his style of play?
I definitely think something's up in the dressing room. I think there's been a row of some kind because Rob Edwards doesn't just sit on his bench. He is usually on the touchline, barking orders, directing what he wants. I absolutely think something's gone on in the dressing room, whether that's someone upset about not getting a move away or they're unhappy about the tactics not producing a result. I don't know. I just get the vibe that something's majorly off.
Can I just add a point on this? Why do we think that is? Who is the main motivator for our squad outside the management team and has been since they joined our club?
Tom Lockyer, and he's not around, really.
No, I would argue it's someone else. I would argue it's Pelly. I would argue Pelly is that person.
That's a fair shout.
That is a good point. I was going to say
really
Dalton
fair
Morris.
shout, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, he's been frozen out. Look, I'm not suggesting he's good enough to start every game, but he should have a bit more respect to be able to be part of that team on the bench, part of the training. Now, I don't know what happens at the Brace, but it feels as if he has been completely sidelined and he offers far more behind the scenes. When things were going bad in the past, Pelly was always the reason why things were picking up in terms of the morale of the squad. And that's the worry for me. I think that's
an absolutely valid point, and I think you may very well be onto saying that.
I didn't even think about it. You must have hit the nail on the head there because he has been like sort of the heartbeat, the cheerleader, and now he is like
Mr.
literally
town for so long.
He has been a decade, almost in. He must taste that top 10 appearance list. And he's now seemingly nowhere near the team.
Since Rob Edwards came in, there have been stories of Rob doesn't like this guy. Yeah, Rob doesn't like this guy. Alan Campbell springs to mind. Rob doesn't like this guy, and instead of trying to work with him, he freezes them out. Like completely freezes them out. And it's a problem.
It's funny, I was thinking about the same thing about Ryan Giles, because the biggest problem apparently that we have with Ryan Giles is his inability to track back. Well, Chong doesn't do that at all. I love Chong, don't get me wrong, but he does not track back, ever. And so it feels like it's one rule for some and another rule for others, because I think actually Ryan Giles is a decent player and it's an odd situation.
I think I was one of his biggest cheerleaders during his early time with us. I was begging for him to get more starts and a bit more consistency going, but he never really seemed to get that. And it seemed like the Ryan Giles book was shut before it ever got going.
We all wanted him to succeed. He was our record signing, and we saw what he was about at Middlesbrough. So we knew exactly what he was about, and he was Rob Edwards signing. Rob knew him from the Wolves Academy. He knew him from AFC Telford.
Waxed lyrical pre-season.
Yeah, and he looked good in pre-season as well. He looked like one of our stronger players, and maybe if he doesn't track back, maybe come up with a system that doesn't involve the wingers tracking back. That's the thing. He needs to hold up a mirror to himself and have a look at himself, because if you have players, you want a system, you want square pegs, square holes. You don't want to take these square pegs and like put them in a round hole and just like hit them with a hammer. It's frustrating because on paper, our squad is so good. And we're not just saying that with the orange tinted goggles on. It genuinely is a very, very good squad. And it looks like it looks like all the confidence has just been sucked out. It has, but it's not just the new thing. Like with those chances that Elijah missed last night, it's been since the beginning of the season. It's almost as if the players don't respond well to the system they're being asked to play, or could it be a case of the instructions are too complicated? Like Brian Clough said, football's a simple game. Why not just keep it simple?
It's a very good point. Listen, lads, tonight I'll leave you on this, right? I think a lot of Luton Town fans are getting a bit sick of platitudes and what's to come. Yeah, I think we need to start seeing some results, a bit of change, because I think if things don't turn around and if we don't get a result against Watford in a few weeks, I think that Rob Edwards very well might end up on the unemployment line. And I think we did it to John Still back in the day when things weren't going well. We had the guts to do it to him, and Gary Sweet would have the guts to do it to Rob Edwards, regardless of a 4-year contract.
It's a tough one, though, because a 4-year contract makes him so much more expensive to sack than John Still, who would have been.
It'll be a very expensive lesson to learn, then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing. That the cheapest option, if he were to leave, would have been for someone to have taken him off our hands when his stock was high, and now it really is a case of like, where do we go? Because the season can get so much worse. Like, we have Oxford up next, and I'll tell you what, Oxford are no mugs.
They played well this season.
Yeah, exactly. They play well this season. They have a great manager in Des Buckingham who has them set up really well. They drew 0-0 at home to Burnley today. They defended like absolute warriors. And look, Burnley couldn't cut through them. They had one shot on target. They had 17 shots on total. They were all from around the outside the box. They couldn't actually penetrate. How are we, where we can't string a forward pass together, how are we going to penetrate Oxford at home? And I'll tell you what, I said it a few weeks ago, if there was a bad result to QPR, it would get hostile. And I was right, wasn't I? And I'll tell you what.
Yeah, and you got pelters for that as well.
I did. And I'll tell you what, if we lose or throw in a really bad performance against Oxford and get a draw, like a lucky draw, quite rightly so, everyone should be voicing their opinion. They should. And I'm not inciting anything here. I'm not. I'm literally calling it as it is. I'm calling it the way I see it. And the thing is,
things are not good.
They're not. And look, the Plymouth game, the Oxford game, these were the games to play ourselves into form, start playing well, get a good performance together before the heavy hitters, Sheffield United, Watford, Middlesbrough, West Brom.
Leeds to come. We've got so many big, tough matches to come.
We've had a very generous start to the season. We have.
Yep, and we've completely blown it.
Yeah.
There's no hiding from it. This has been a terrible start to the season. And people can say to me as much as they like, oh, we're usually slow starters. Yeah, we may well be, but not like this. This is bad. We are bad on the pitch and things seem bad off it too.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's the impact of off it. I mean, I just put my 2 pence in. I think, people can react how they want. We're all fans of the club, and if you pay your money, you react how you want. I would say this though, the stuff that I've seen on Twitter, and I have tried to keep off it after last night, but this nonsense about some of us being recent fans or spoiled by the Premier League, it really pisses me off. And I think that you can react however you want. We've all been, I know for a fact that we've all been fans for a long time, but that doesn't matter. The point is, we all love the club. We all want us to win. We all want us to do well, and we're all entitled to our opinions, and that's absolutely fine. But as Ollie said, for me, I think we've got the third best squad in the league. So it's all very well saying, yeah, but 10, 11 years ago we were here, there. The expectation of where we should be when we're a non-league and we were doing absolute shit for the first 5 years. Did anyone turn around then and go, "Oh yeah, but
I was there when Andy Johnson turned up at Luton train station, mate. I'm more of a fan than you."
Well, but but this is the thing. I mean, we had expectations, and fair expectations in that time, to do better than we did, and we do now, and that's absolutely fair enough to have those expectations of our side, because we know how well we can do. We've seen this squad do brilliant things, and we want better from it, but we all want the same thing. It's ridiculous to think that anyone wants anything else. Anyway, sorry, rant over.
Absolutely,
that.
I agree, lads. Listen, I'll let you get on.
Cheers,
and I'll speak to you guys soon.
Appreciate it, mate. Have a great
Nice
evening.
one, guys. Have a good night.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, so just on that point as well, it's frustrating because it is a case of I've been a fan longer than you. That is literally a recurring thing right now. And we, us two, we were there. Like we've been supporting since the mid-90s. So we've seen a down, we've seen an up.
We started with Lenny Lawrence, mate. It's miraculous that we support the club in the first place.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We cut our teeth with 1-0 losses every week and whatever it was.
Yeah, when we started supporting the touch, like the dugout was actually on the main stand side of the pitch.
It was.
It had to get moved because there was so much abuse.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember when my dad had a season ticket on the main stand. I know he might have been partly responsible for that.
Right, so let's read some comments out. Look, if anyone wants to get in touch, the Discord link is pinned to the top of the chat. Please just feel free to get in touch. Got some good comments here. Rich Hartwell, definition of insanity: trying the same task, expecting different outcomes. That's true, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, well, exactly. That
It'll work
is exactly
this time.
Right. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with that one, definitely.
Greg Miles, Morris if fit, and Brown to start up top against Oxford. I don't think Morris will be fit. That's the problem.
No.
Brown and JT if Morris is injured. In all fairness,
I agree with that.
Elijah probably needs to be taken out the firing line, doesn't he? That's 100%. A good point.
100%. I mean, he had 2 clear-cut chances and a header from 6 yards out that he should score as well. He is not in a good place, and the system isn't helping him, but he needs taken out. 100% agree with that.
You know what? I completely forgot about that free header when I was doing my post-match reaction. It was awful.
Fair enough. It was awful. Yeah.
Yeah, a 65-year-old Mick Harford would have put that away, wouldn't he?
I mean, it's so funny what confidence. I mean, look, Elijah is our most confidence-based player. Let's be honest, out of everybody, he goes from one extreme to the other. But he just lost the ability to basic control of the ball. Even that pass out wide to Zach Nelson that went out of play for a goal kick. Stuff like that. He needs taken out. He really does.
Oh yeah. And you know what? We got lucky with, well, we didn't get lucky because we didn't capitalize on it. But two defensive errors leaving us through on goal. It's it was tough. And I was at the Brickies watching that, and it wasn't a good vibe. It really wasn't.
I was going to ask actually what it was like there.
Oh, well, the Brickies is fantastic. Great beer on tap. Good company.
Of course.
Yeah, and to be honest, like when Plymouth went 2 up, the vibe shifted. People weren't happy. Yeah, but look, that is what it is. A couple more comments. While we wait for some other people to jump in the green room. Look, guys, I know this is a new setup, but feel free to jump in. We're here, you know, well, we normally try and do half an hour. We're happy for more people to jump on. So
please do. And I was I was just going to say there were a couple of people in there. If you do join the green room, just hold on. I've seen you. We will drag you in. You will get a chance to speak. So please just jump in and be patient. We will definitely get you on.
Yeah, it's a new system and we are getting used to it as well. Right, a couple more comments. Okay, Phil from the pods. Last night there was not a single rendition of Super Robbie Edwards, which says something at the moment. I'm surprised about that because there were still claps at the end. So, you know, people obviously aren't completely disheartened.
No, and fair play. And can we just say fair play to all of those roughly 1,000 people that went to Plymouth last night? Absolute fair play to you. I mean, that is one hell of a journey to make. And then to watch that is worse. But yeah, absolutely fair play to those and that watched it.
Yeah, it was mad. The people getting back. I think I spoke to Deggy. He got back at 3 a.m. Awful.
Yeah,
really is.
It's a long old way, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. So we got Brocky in the chat. Let's add him in.
Hello, mate.
Evening, Brocky.
Hello, lads. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
hear
can.
you.
Can you hear me in good quality? I've got some new headphones. I don't know if they're working.
Oh, yeah, loud and clear.
Crisp. Very crisp.
Lovely. How you both doing? You all right?
Yeah. Look, I've got it all off my chest, you know, like it's therapeutic for me, like ranting at my camera, like in the post-match reactions, and then doing this. So I'm golden, mate. I'm great. How are you?
Good.
What's your take on yesterday?
Man, where do you start? I don't know what's been said thus far. I was cutting in and out of YouTube there, but the main couple of things that I wanted to highlight was I think that we've all said it. Something isn't right with Rob Edwards in terms of his demeanour on the sideline, in terms of how he interacts with fans at the end of the game, in terms of how he always used to talk about his relationship with the board, and I haven't heard him mention that at all recently. Something's awry, and I think it's a number of things. I think he feels let down from the transfers in the summer transfer window. Yes, we got some players in, but I don't think we've recruited the type of player that he definitely wanted to see. And I get the impression it's kind of a modern setup where, you know, the manager isn't in charge directly of all the signings. But I also think that the incident with Tom Lockyer, I think, has taken more out of him than we all know, in my opinion. I think that and a good indication of that is yesterday when Chong went down. I don't know if you saw his face, as in Rob Edwards' face, he looked white as a ghost. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. Sorry. And I think it just brought back memories immediately for him, and that's really got me thinking about how much of an impact it's had on him, and even like the notion of Tom Lockyer coming back to play again. Well, he's collapsed twice on the pitch in front of Robbie Edwards, and I think that Edwards is a very emotionally intelligent man. However, he does have this soft underbelly is the wrong word, but he has this kind of. He does have these soft skills, these emotional intelligence, you know, in terms of how he manages players, but he takes too much on. For example, I'd like to see what you think here. Does he need to go onto the pitch yesterday when Chong is down? Does he need to get himself involved emotionally with injuries to players? I know it was different in the sense that the crowd suddenly went very quiet. He was down with a head injury, but if that was the middle of the game, would he have gone on and done it? Because then players are back in the changing room early. He's not the one leading the team talk. I don't know. All these little things play on my mind, and I just think that it tells me that he's taking too much on, and I think it's slowly wearing him down emotionally. Yeah.
Do you think he's actually cut out to be a high-level football manager then?
Yeah, I think the reason people like Nathan Jones and I dare say, like the best example, Neil Warnock, I think they will have longevity in the game is because they have that arsehole side to them. They have that that arrogant side to them where they can cut off emotionally. Do you know what I mean? They don't take it all personally. They don't feel everybody's pain. They don't. I think that the level of arrogance they have, they can distance themselves from all of that somehow. Whereas Rob Edwards is a really emotionally intelligent guy. However, he takes a lot of the pain of the last, let's say, 12 months, the relegation, Tom Lockyer on board, and I think it's hitting hard. And now he doesn't feel supported by the board because I don't think the transfers came in like he hoped. He can feel the fans going the other way, but the backdrop of all of that is change the fucking shape then. just change it. Give yourself some leeway and change the shape, man.
It's like the punchline to a joke there. I love that.
But it's like I think we all want him to achieve, don't we? You know what I mean? We don't.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But I actually, do you know what, Mark? That is a good point. I don't think, and I know you were saying well, is he cut out to do it? I don't think we can underestimate the impact that Locks had collapsing on the pitch, particularly the one in Bournemouth. I mean, we all know how it impacted us watching. I luckily wasn't at the game, but I know a couple of people that were, and actually I felt that when Chong went down and the crowd went silent. I was watching it on TV. I immediately thought, "Oh shit, not again, surely." And it must be tough. But I think you're absolutely right. I think I think the way I was saying a similar thing right at the start of this, Mark, about I feel that he lacks the kind of drive for discipline that Jones does, and that was Jones's limit as well as his strength. And that's why Rob Edwards could come in and give us that freedom. But I completely agree. I think he's too busy trying to be everyone's mate in a nicest possible way, and it helps us under certain circumstances. But I don't feel that when they need a bit of that discipline, when they need a bit of a kick up the backside, I feel that's where he struggles to be able to then separate himself from that.
You've hit the nail on the head there. That he's trying too hard to be their friends. They don't need a friend. They need a manager. They need someone like Nathan Jones. Zero tolerance. Happy to dig out the senior members of the team. Have we heard Rob Edwards dig out any players who aren't exactly performing? I'm not saying you should dig out players. You especially shouldn't dig out younger players, inexperienced pros. But maybe he should be demanding from the team, demanding a performance. Because at the beginning of the season, I don't know if you both remember this, Brocky and Ryman. So at the beginning of the season, Three Counties Radio, he said the aim is promotion. And Gary Sweet made no secret of the fact that the aim was promotion as well. Well, we're not playing like a team. I mean, obviously, the performances haven't been good enough and we're not winning games, but we're not playing with the intensity or the passion or the strength in the middle like a team who want to get promoted. There's no bodies on the line. There's no pass and move. It's just pass, stand still. No one's tracking back. There's no movement. It's like Brocky, what do you think about this? Like, why have the players stopped playing?
Yeah, I think what we are sensing from the manager, which is, it seems to me like fatigue. He looks exhausted. He looks emotionally drained. The players are feeling that every day, no doubt. And if your leader is feeling, looking, responding that way, then it doesn't inspire confidence. I think that drip feeds down to the players without doubt. However, just going back to your point of maybe he's too pally-pally with the players, for me, that isn't an enormous issue if you acknowledge your weaknesses as a manager. Like, just thinking, everyone listening to this and all of our managers at work or whatever, they're not perfect. They have flaws, they have weaknesses, they have personality, weak links that they need to manage and deal with themselves. But you hire someone else to cover those flaws, as in, if he's not going to be the Rottweiler, then get Richie Kyle to do it, or do you know what I mean? You get someone else to offset the weakness that you have, and it doesn't seem like anybody's stepping into that role. Like they need someone to be barking at the players when Alfie Doughty and Chongi are constantly bickering down that left hand side, and it's really audible to fans and other players. Like fucking someone smash their head together and tell them to sort it out, pull their socks up and get on with it, like that Nathan Jones-esque style. But then again, Nathan Jones didn't have I'm going to say the word again, those soft skills, that emotional intelligence. So maybe he used, I can't imagine Paul Hart was the softest guy in the world, but they maybe use somebody else to do that. My point is, if you have a weakness, which Robbie Edwards does, just find someone else to do the part that you aren't very good at or you don't like doing. And I just don't think he has. And I think that's all transmitted onto the pitch. And I think we're all just really sorry, aren't we? It's a real, not a sad state of affairs. I think we're all just so deflated because we want him to achieve, but it is going tits up. There's a lot of red flags, and we're discussing individual red flags one at a time, aren't we? And when they all add up to this bigger picture, I hope we don't.
Sorry. I was going to say we're no longer a team stronger than the sum of its parts, which is what defined us for so long. I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, and I think that togetherness is the bit that's the most saddening for all of us. We can all watch crap performances and losses, but the way Plymouth put bodies on the line for every one of Elijah's shots and everything else, the fact that they were doing that and we weren't, that was the saddest thing for me.
Yeah, you could hear the connection with the crowd, couldn't you, Mark? And you could hear that the fans were right on board, even though they haven't had the best results. They had a good one against Sunderland the other day, but they're not flying high in the league. But the fans were united, just like we used to be. Whereas now, in match days, it's not the most positive place to be. And that I think the reason a lot of people are angry, you obviously get your petulant knob ends that just like to complain at every opportunity that they can get, and there's plenty of them. But I think the reason the majority of fans are angry is because it's whatever's happened, it's taken the Luton out of us. I mean, the performances on the pitch, it's taken the Luton out of us, which is, we work together. We fight on the pitch. We fight tooth and nail for results. We dig in when we need results. If we need to sit deep and defend, when we do that. Instead, we're just pursuing this free-flowing football, which is so far from that.
Look, you've hit the nail on the head there. And look, I've been following for 30 years, as has Ryman, as has you, Brocky. And the thing for me, like last season was a free hit. I didn't care if we got relegated, honestly. This season, all I want to see, win, lose or draw, I just want to see us try. I just want to see good football. Not good football like tippy-tappy Pep Guardiola stuff. I want to see passion. I want to see us, chasing down second balls. I want to see fight in a game. That's what I grew up watching. And it's... You hit the nail on the head by saying that there's no Luton left in us. There just isn't.
Think of that moment with Cody Dramé in the Sunderland playoffs. It wasn't an opportunity.
Smashed him, ball out.
That's what I mean. You're not talking about the open goal he missed, right?
Oh man, remember that? How that was agonising when he tripled wide. Jesus, but like that tackle epitomised where we were and what we were about then, didn't it? Like we were getting excited. Well, we were celebrating it like a goal. The fact that a player had given everything to shut a man down in the corner, despite it looking like a lost cause. And could you see that happening now? I really don't think we could. And the other thing that, personally, for me, that upsets me, and I think I've mentioned it to you before, is I know it might have to happen, but we seem to be gutting ourselves of the players that were once the life and soul of the club. To draw a direct comparison, and this is harsh, but I'm going to do it anyway. Is Liam Walsh an upgrade on Luke Berry? Not for me. I know it's crude to compare one in, one out, because it's not like that in football, but I'm going to do it because we don't have Luke Berry and we have Luke Walsh, and that's the outcome. Pelly's being ostracised, and I know they're only two players and we have to move on with time, but it's just another little thing that I just think the Luton is being taken out of us.
We were talking about Pelly earlier, Mark. I don't know whether you heard it, but
No, I
I
didn't.
tend to agree. I mean, it's a lot of those players are the reason that we are where we are. They're part of that spirit. And I think that we were all gutted, weren't we, when Berry left? I can understand from his point of view why he did, because he wanted more football. So I completely get that. And he'll get it under Nathan Jones at Charlton, but you know. That level of that spirit, that fight that he brings from being with us all the way through from League Two is important, and we are slowly losing that. What have we got left? Pelly, who, as he said, has been ostracised for what, which is really sad to see.
James Shea.
And James Shea, yeah. There's not many left, is there? That epitomise that team. I know that's always going to happen. Of course it is. Those players are going to leave us, but. You know, one thing that Jones did well is make sure those players remained in the fold on the coaching staff. We still have a few, but I think we could do more to keep those players around. They're so important for our spirit.
So
Yeah,
true.
absolutely, and I don't want to be completely negative, because there is hope, and like I think I just caught earlier that you were saying how good the squad is. The squad's like on paper, it's cracking. You know what I mean, we've got good players there, but if Edwards doesn't show the ability and the wanting to be flexible, to adapt, to change the style, then he will pay the price with his job. I'm certain of it. I don't want that to happen. I really don't. I want him, as we said, I want him to succeed. But if he can't show flexibility, then it ain't going to work, because it isn't working.
Yeah. Well, Brocky, thank you very much for joining us tonight, mate. Really appreciate
Cheers,
it.
buddy.
No worries. Cheers, gents. You're welcome. And nice new setup. I like it. It was all relatively easy.
Yeah, it's all new
Thanks,
and
mate.
shiny. Cheers, Brocky.
Yeah, it's great. Good job. Cheers, gents.
Yeah, and regarding some comments in the on the YouTube channel, look, these are our opinions, and we're entitled to have our opinions. And you know what? If you want to put your opinion across, you want to tell us to shut up, you want to tell us that our opinions are trash, by all means, man up, get on here, talk to us. It doesn't have to be tonight. It can be at the next post-match phone-in. And everyone's entitled to an opinion. That is what football is about. It's a game of opinions.
Called a fan phone in.
It's a fan phone in. Get your point across, you know?
None of us were on the board, obviously.
Yeah, and you know what? The club don't communicate
Gary's
certain
here.
things. So, you know what? Like, we can speculate, we can talk about it. And if you want to get your point across, please, by all means. It's just a click away on Discord. But we are running to like 45 minutes. So any closing remarks, Ryman?
Yeah, I mean, all I'd say is that, you know, as Mark said, I do want Rob to do well. I slightly agree with Simon maybe about, I think Nathan Jones isn't necessarily the be all and end all, but he certainly has some of the qualities that Rob Edwards lacks, and vice versa. I think the other way around as well. I want him to do well. I want to see us put in a fighting Luton Town performance. That's all. Under the lights on Tuesday night, there is the opportunity for us to do that. So, you know, we'll go in with that optimism that we do as football fans in general. You know, we love it, don't we? We love taking all of this and then still going every single week and still cheering them on. Despite what we say after a game, I know for a fact that all of us will go to that game and we'll cheer on the team as much as possible. So we will do that and be optimistic that things can turn around. And that's all we can do at the moment. That is all we can do.
Well, we had another caller that just dropped into the green room and then left. Ash, if you are around, you know, jump back into the green room, mate. We're happy to have you on. Looking ahead to that game against Oxford now, it's gonna be a tough task. And as I said before, to echo that, I just want to see a good performance, because Oxford are kind of the mirror opposite of us now, you know. They are us under Nathan Jones. They are drilled. They are nasty. They have a striker in Mark Harris who will bully our defenders. They will. Yeah. And they have talent. They have talent in their team. Like, we're lucky Cameron Brannigan is missing. You know, he's injured. But they have danger elsewhere in the team. And, you know, they're going to be up for it. You know, they were crossing over with Luton Town in the conference, mixing it, you know, with us, 15 years ago. And what a remarkable climb from both clubs here, not just us. We've gone obviously one step higher to the Prem, but it's going to be a right ding dong. And, you know, if we show some of the fight that we did when we beat them 2-1 when they were under Chris Wilder, you know, maybe we'll score from a corner.
That's the answer. Maybe not the back post. Stick it right in the top corner like Keane did. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, it's just far too predictable now. It's every corner, but to the back stick. Oh, but never mind. We're running at 45 minutes. So thank you to everyone who's watched. Remember, if you're enjoying the content from the OK Football Show and you're here, hit that like button. I don't think live videos have like buttons, but if it does, hit it. And also subscribe for even more Luton Town content. We have match previews. We have a Luton Ladies Lowdown. We have so much. Oh, you know what we have? We have Ash in the green room. Let's bring Ash in. Ash, you're in. Saved by the bell, mate. Good evening.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
I would like to talk about Luton Town.
Of course, yeah, you can talk about Luton Town. Let's keep it quick, though. We were about to wrap up. What are your thoughts?
I think you're doing an excellent job, and thank you for doing the call in. I just think, basically, I think it's time for the manager to leave. The truth is that I think Paddy Ruddock, basically, the way they've treated Paddy Ruddock, you know, it's very, very harsh.
Yeah, we were saying that earlier as well. I think we tend to agree the impact that he has is definitely important.
I've been supporting Luton since 1990. I'm 46 years old. And I remember David Pleat. And I'm sure that David Pleat, if he was still as a manager, he would basically would have played Taylor at the start to develop the players. That's the issue. You see, I don't think they're developing the players, giving them a chance to play, and I can't really hear you that well. So I've got YouTube on in the background, so I'm just going to listen to what you're saying. But
yeah, well, Ash, thank you very much for joining us, and you know, appreciate the words. We'll keep doing this. I've just moved you back to the green room, Ash. Ash, thank you very much for calling in. You know, you raised a good point about Pleaty, because look, from 77 to, you know, when he left us in, I think, 86, he always gave the youth a chance. He did. And to be fair, Rob Edwards as well, you know, Joe Johnson, Zach Nelson, who's really taken his chance with like two hands. Love it. Oh.
And that's one thing Edwards probably has over NJ as well. Let's be fair.
Oh yeah, and NJ only put in James Justin because Dan Potts was injured.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh wow, everyone's joining us now. We've also got Grieg. The phone in continues, Mark. All right, Grieg.
No problem. I've got nowhere to be.
Good evening, Grieg. How are you doing, mate?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. If you mute or pause your YouTube stream, so hopefully there's no feedback on your end.
Okay, is that okay?
That is good, yeah. How are you doing this evening, and what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm great, and really appreciate what you do, guys. It's really good chat.
Thank you, mate.
Enjoy it.
Nice one, mate.
Yeah, well, I've been a Luton fan for quite some time now. I went for the first time took my son for the first time against Sheffield Wednesday, so that was quite a experience on Saturday. Thank God we won, so he's got a good first memory anyway. Yeah, a few things about the Plymouth game that were just doing my nut in was we were just completely powder puff in the attacking third. Midfield non-existent. Can't believe the uncertainty that we have at the back. Chong, Clark, Adebayo just completely and utterly not working. Can't really put my finger on why. They just seem to just run up blind alleys and just don't link up, and Adebayo's confidence just looks shot.
What do you think we do with Elijah Adebayo now? Does he get taken out the team for a couple of weeks to let him reset?
I think that's what he needs. I think, honestly, it just looks like now he's just trying too hard. I think when you get to that kind of state, I just think it can only get worse, and his confidence can only nosedive even more. I just honestly think that Joe Taylor needs a proper start. And now Brown's fit, I think we go Brown and Taylor, and up top Morris, obviously, if he shakes off this quad strain, which may not be for Tuesday. But I just think we're crying out for Joe Taylor's start, honestly. And then Adebayo just come in again as a sub, get another chance, get a goal, and then he can kick on that way. It's just baffling how things have regressed so much. But he's had a really good crack. You know, I mean, how many chances has he had now? Good ones. I mean, that one when he was put through yesterday, I think our first one
by Plymouth.
Yeah. And it was 1-on-1, and they were catching him up a bit because he's not really got electric pace. They were catching him up a bit, but it was there to be hit with his left, and he chopped back to his right. And in that moment, they were back in numbers and they blocked it easily. But it reminded me again, the frustration I felt was when he missed that sitter against Tottenham last season, when it was an easy tap-in if he used his left, and he tried to use his right, got his legs in a tangle. I just don't know how you can get to that level of striker and just not use your left foot. I mean, just put your left foot through it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You blaze it over, it goes through the keeper's legs, it rattles into the roof of the net, you know, but at least you got your shot off. It's just, it was there to be hit on the left, and he's just cuts back in, attack dies. And then his heading now, his heading was really impressive in the back half of the Premier League season. And it's coming off his shoulder, it's coming off his head. I mean, yesterday he had two really good heading opportunities. And one of them came off the top of his head, like a 50p header. And the other one, it just came off his shoulder when he beat the goalie. And
I forgot about the shoulder one. Yeah, I forgot about the shoulder one.
You had the shoulder one where he beat the keeper. He got to it first, but like when he crashed in those headers, you know, the one against Man City.
Arsenal. Yeah, and Man City,
he's proved he can really just get in there before the keeper and be brave. And therefore, I just can't believe what I'm watching, really, with the lack of confidence that it comes off his shoulder, and then the even worse one where he's there again, but he jumps far too early. He's hanging in the air, and it just he heads it miles over from being on his own, being marked by someone about a foot shorter than him. And then we got Clark and Chong, who are just as much as I like them, especially Clark. I feel for Clark because I know he really does care. But he's just absolutely running down blind alleys. And I mean, what happened for their second goal? I mean, I just thought he was going to score. Next thing I know, God knows what happens. He falls over or gets tackled or something, and then they break through at ease, midfield, nowhere to be seen. And then our three centre-backs just back off, and then Sissoko scores. It's just so easy. It's just such a tough watch. And after what was a brilliant, dominating start as well, I was watching it thinking, God, we look really on it here. But I said to my son as we were watching it, I said, yeah, we're not actually testing the goalie though. And then I said, you watch, they'll have an attack soon because they will. And they'll probably get their shot on target. And their first attack, bit fortuitous how it came to him, but he gets half a chance and he buries it in the top corner. And then that just set the tone, really. Heads dropped a bit. And then don't even get me started on the corners. the corners. My God, what is going on with our corners? Just
we
just
brought in
crazy,
a new
man.
set piece analyst as well. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, it absolutely baffles me what they're doing, because I don't think there can be a team. I mean, I haven't looked at the stats. I know in our league, I think we're the worst conversion rate. I mean, like someone pointed out, the Zach Nelson wonder goal was from a corner, from a second phase. So I don't think that can count really, because it kind of, the corner came in and it sort of went out, and then he smashed it in beautifully. But in terms of scoring from a corner, we have got to have the worst conversion, well, the most amount of corners and the least amount of success from any team in world football. It's quite remarkable. And our team is actually quite big now.
Well, and against the Plymouth side, who are notoriously weak as well. Plymouth are notoriously weak at corners this season, at least. I think West Brom hit the post 3 times, didn't they, from corners in their first half. So, yeah, I completely agree.
Well, with the height we have with McGuinness as well, we should be hitting corners better. Like Locks was very good with corners, from corners, crosses. He always, threw his head at it. Obviously, I'm not saying throw him in the starting lineup, but we do miss his presence from corners. And also Gabe was great.
We're just missing a bit of a nasty edge. We just seem like we're, Alfie does, more often than not put in a good delivery, but it's so same. I mean, what about doing a short corner, working a different angle? Cutting it in, having someone run to the front post and someone running, do a quick spin and run to the back. There's no variation. It's just...
It's really interesting you say that, because Victor Moses, when he came on, was desperate to take a corner. He kept running over there and leaving it for Alfie and waiting short for him. And Alfie just ignored him every single time. So, the option's there.
Yeah, I definitely... I mean, Victor has been, and I never thought I would say this, but Ollie, you were very up on him as soon as he joined, and I was a bit like, I just, to be honest, I just thought he had retired. I hadn't heard anything of him since he moved to Russia. But I knew, obviously, when he was a Chelsea player, he was a brilliant wing back for them in their title-winning season under Conte. I knew he had pedigree, but I just thought he was just coming out for one last paycheck sort of thing. But my God, he has been literally a breath of fresh air, and his goal was absolutely, in the end, it was a cruel thing to happen, really, because it gave us a little bit of hope suddenly when we had 10 plus injury time to go, and he rattles that in like a absolute boss. You think, geez, we can get a draw here, if not win, and then that quickly dissipated with the third for them on the counter. But he does look really good. Whether he can play 90 or start, I don't know. Only they'll know in training. But he certainly looks good. He looks fit, and I just think he's, if he's fit and says he's ready, he's got to start. We need a shake-up, and if a shake-up comes with Chong, Clark, and Adebayo being benched to give them a bit of a rest, because they all look really kind of drained. I mean, Clark's interview, I don't know if you saw Jordan's interview. He as captain, I suppose, he had to face up. And, I felt for him, because I really, really do appreciate that he is giving everything and trying. But his form has just been way off now for a few games. And, he's trying. I just think, no, we've actually got some good forward options now. Joe Taylor, Brown, Moses, just get these guys in from the start. Morris, obviously, him being injured off the back of getting those 2 goals was just our bloody luck. But get these guys in, bench the ones that now who have been given a good shot, but they're just not. They're not even getting shots off. And in Adebayo's case, he's not really getting shots off, but his headers are going, miles off. He's not even getting his head on them. And we just need a shake-up. And the midfield, God knows what Nakamba's up to. Is he fit? Is he not fit?
Well, he's just come back from 9 months out, so I guess it is a case of easing him in slowly. And to be honest, when you're chasing a game, there's no real need to chuck Nakamba in. There's a comment on the YouTube page that sort of reiterates what you were saying. You have to play Elijah next to a second striker. So that's from Rich Hartwell. And my opinion, I agree with what's been said by you and others. It has to be Joe Taylor. He looked sharp when he came on. You know, he had that turn and swivel. Sure, it was a bit wide. He had the offside goal that, to be honest, didn't look offside to me.
No, that's another thing. And that was. I mean, it. You know, I don't mean it to sound like sour grapes. I think Plymouth deserved their win. That they just had more about them. They were just fighting harder and wanted. It seemed like they wanted it more. But yeah, that goal, it didn't really get the proper angle, but it did look very, very on the line. And if that goes in, that would have been 2-2. That completely changes their thought processes. But anyway, it wasn't to be, and that was that. But yeah. No, I agree. I just hope. I mean, I think Rob Edwards now is really feeling it, rightly or wrongly. I'm certainly not for Rob out now, but I think the next three, I think Oxford Tuesday is almost must win or maybe must not lose. I think
for me, it's must put in a good performance. That is the only thing that I am looking for. I want to see fight. I want to see the team give a shit. That's all I care about right now. I want to see a remnant of Luton Town. None of this, soft, effete football, because it's piss poor. Trying to think of another word. Grieg, thank you so much for joining us. First time caller, mate. Really appreciate it.
Keep calling in. I don't know about you. Sorry, I was going to say I don't know about you guys, but I think for a lot of fans, it's going to be the Watford game that will be the.
Yeah, well, that's after the break, isn't it?
Yeah,
we need to show a performance before then. We need to have runway to that.
Of course, I mean in terms of Edwards the kind of nail in the coffin situation.
Yeah. If we lose to Watford, and we only pick up 1 point before then, the board have to make some, strong decisions and, payoff be damned. If at the end of the day, if Gary Sweet hasn't put in performance related clauses into this contract and Rob Edwards has charmed him into, just giving him a straight 4-year contract with no breaks in it, we've been taken for a mug. It's like the greatest robbery in football, but I hope there are performance related clauses. There simply have to be. Anyway, it's probably a good time to wrap this up anyway. Grieg, I hope your son has a better first season supporting Luton than I did. My first season was 95, 96, and I saw Luton getting relegated from the division we're currently in. So, that's my first memory supporting Luton.
Same.
Yeah, well, at least his first game was a win. And we got to celebrate two goals when did not see that coming with 15 to go. So, that was quite something. So he's got a great first memory, but let's hope we do make and accomplish our goal of this season, which is still possible at the moment, in which I won't hear anything else. It is got to be top 6. That's got to be the goal now. Maybe we'll come 8th or 9th or whatever, but with our squad now, just sort it out. Rob Edwards, just don't be so blooming stubborn. Play our players to their strengths. Change it up, and we can make that top 6. I really believe that. But he's got to pull his finger out now. He really has.
Well said. Said.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Well done.
For me, the only success this season is finishing above Watford. For me, that's success.
No, that's your ingrained Luton. But I agree with Greg. For me, as I've said previously tonight, we're third best squad in the league for me. So I think we need to be finishing the playoffs. We really do. Just because it's been mentioned in the comments, I've seen a few times from Plymouth fans. Yes, Plymouth were good as well.
They were,
give us some credit. So
I gave them due credit in the immediate post-match reaction. They were good, and Wayne Rooney gets a lot of slack. He's not as bad as people think. Maybe we gave them a lot of respect. We gave them the space to play in, but they got some fantastic players in that team.
Yeah, those finishes. Sissoko came on and made a huge difference, and their first goal, excellent. We know what the issues are on our side, but just saying that Plymouth, well done Well done to you.
Yeah, you know,
Hope you stay up.
Mark, you know we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes. This is the longest phone in, and
It's a marathon.
I want to thank every single person that has joined us
Yeah.
this evening. New callers, frequent callers. We appreciate all of you. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for the kind words as well. It means a lot because it's nice to hear that people enjoy what we're doing. It's a good barometer for moving forward. And I'll give the outro spiel again. I don't know if there is a like button, but like this video when it finishes recording, and also subscribe if you enjoy our content for even more Luton Town content. A big thank you to our audio partners Black Star Amplification and Carry On for making sure that we sound great. And wherever you are in the country, head on down to Amersham, check out the record shop if you collect vinyl or CDs, or if you play the guitar. They have a wall of guitars. It's pretty cool. And mention the OK Football Show, you'll even get a discount. But that's it from us. Thank you all for tuning in. And most importantly, come on you Hatters. We got business to do against Oxford.